So you like cars so much you want to make them your career, huh? Well, you came to the right place. Today, I'll tell you how, whether you have a degree or no experience at all. Everything from working in lube shops, the aftermarket, service centers, racing, sales, even media. I talked to a bunch of people who have done it all and are waiting to work with the next generation. Let's make it happen.
Thanks to Keeps for sponsoring today's video. Ever since I moved back to my parents, I've been spending time going through all my memory boxes. Last night, I found my yearbook and some nice legs. Hello, they were mine. But this morning, I found something even better. My old basketball. Those were the days. When I had thick, luscious hair, I would dominate the paint in high school. No one could touch Uncle the Birdman Jerry. And I was going to the NBA. But then everything changed when I became one of the 2 out of 3 guys to experience some form of male pattern baldness by the time I was 35. If only I had used Keeps. See, Keeps makes hair loss prevention easy by giving you access to real doctors online. Plus, they'll ship you your hair loss medication directly to your door every 3 months. So get off the bench, you bench warmer, and get in the game of hair loss prevention from home. Go to keeps.com/wheelhouse50 or click the link in the description to receive 50% off your first order. Thanks for the memories, Mr. Basketball. Hey, at least I still got good legs. Oh, shut up, Dave. You don't have a urethra.
First things first, if you're still in school and have the opportunity to take an auto shop class, take the auto shop class. This is where you can get your feet wet and work with a bunch of tools you probably wouldn't have easy access to. After you graduate, now what? Well, you can go to college or go right into the workforce. If you want to work for a big manufacturer as a designer, engineer, or in their marketing division or whatever, you pretty much have to go to college, but we'll talk about that later. There are a lot of ways to get into the industry that don't require a formal education. But first, let's talk about the mindset you need to have. Coffee's hitting, dude. Don't think of your job search as finding a job in the auto industry. That's too broad and won't help you get focused. Think of it as finding a job you would want anyway that happens to be centered around cars. Once you decide on what kind of work you want to be doing, you gotta have a plan, or at least a goal in mind. It's okay if you don't have an entire timeline laid out. I don't really either. But if you don't at least have an idea of where you want to end up, you run the risk of falling into a rut with a job you don't really love, and I don't want that for you. So let's talk about a great first step for someone who wants to work with cars, who has no experience or college education. Oil and tires. Changing oil and installing tires might not be the most glamorous gig in the world, but you don't have to do it forever. These are entry-level jobs. Think of them as your education on how to work and behave in a shop environment, which is valuable experience. These businesses have no problem hiring people with limited skills. Even if you're a teenager, if you stick around in a lube shop or tire shop, you might be able to work your way up to a manager, or you could put your experience on a resume for a new job in, say, the aftermarket. If you don't want to work with oil or tires, there are plenty of entry-level jobs in the automotive aftermarket. I'm talking about all the businesses that build all the cool parts you see Zach Job or Ginjim or Mighty Car Mods install in their builds. All of those came from dedicated manufacturers that you could work at. But without experience, you gotta start at the bottom, which in many cases means working in the warehouse. Now, just because you weren't product planning or making sales doesn't mean that working in the warehouse is a bad place to get your foot in the door. You're gonna be packing boxes, moving pallets around, taking inventory, maybe making some shipping labels and gaining significant forearm strength. Yeah, I remember using the pallet jack. I'll never forget you, Maggie. You're also going to be learning perhaps the most valuable knowledge of knowing how the company operates and integrating into that company culture. From a warehouse position, you can probably work your way into the sales department, where you can focus on either retail or wholesale, selling directly to customers versus selling to other businesses. The cool thing about sales is that you don't need specialized technical training. You just need to be good with people. And if you show interest in that sort of work, your employer will probably train you in it. And that doesn't just go for sales. Say you think you have good ideas for products, and your employer does too. It's likely they'll show you how to develop those skills if you show you have the drive to learn. If you're liking these jobs so far, how about you do the job of hitting that like button? It really helps us out, thank you. Let's move on to a more obvious way to work around cars, working at a dealership. The most well-known car job besides mechanic is probably car salesman, but there are plenty of jobs at a dealership that require little experience, and that you probably didn't know you could get paid to do. You could work inside a dealership, answering phones for their business development center. You can work in the back office handling DMV paperwork. Some dealerships are so big that they need someone just to move cars around the lot and shuttle customers around town. They usually call this position a porter. You could also work in dealership finance, but that does take a bit of previous experience. Okay, so what if you actually want to work with the inventory? You can get your foot in the door detailing the cars, making them all nice and shiny before they leave the lot. If you're handy with a camera and have a portfolio to prove it, you could work in a dealership's photography department. Many luxury car dealers need someone to shoot cars in their on-site studios because their inventory is constantly shifting. Then of course there's car sales itself, which does require experience. Some states require a license to become a car sales rep, but the dealership would probably help you get that and train you for the job if you already work for them. But what if you want to work on cars? Then you need to get into the service center. Here you'll be doing regular maintenance on customer cars or work your way up to serious repairs like replacing drivetrain components. Entry-level jobs in service centers include lube and tire tech positions we discussed earlier, but there is room for growth. Now, you can become a mechanic just by working on stuff, but dealerships really value something called ASE certification. The National Institute for Automotive Service Excellence, or ASE, is a non-profit org that tests and certifies automotive technicians, so you know that they know what the they're doing to your car when it's in the shop. You don't technically need to be ASE certified to be a mechanic, but it's really good to have it. Shops and dealerships only need one ASE technician to put up an ASE plaque, but the more the better. Dealerships will train you and pay for your ASE certification because it's in their best interest to do so. The more people they have certified, the better it looks on the door. The cool thing about dealerships in my eyes is that there's a good amount of upward mobility within the business if you dedicate yourself to the work. It's totally possible to go from driving customer shuttles to a high position in the service department. My buddy Vincent did just that. I had another friend who went from being a porter to taking pictures to becoming a salesman. It's really on you to get after the job you want. Okay, so what if you want to build cars, like learn how to work with metal, learn how to wire up an electrical system, build some engines, and show some artistry? How do you get a job in a custom shop? It's not like you can get a degree in hot rodding, right? In my experience, these are the kind of businesses you have to approach in person and flat out ask if you can work there. It varies from shop to shop, but it really helps to have a prior relationship with them, or know an employee who can get you an introduction. Many of these custom shops will train you on the fly according to a sink or swim mentality. The people that run these shops will skip having you sweep floors and get you on a project right away to see how you react. Attitude is more important than skill when you're first starting out. You have to be teachable. A big thing for me was getting over my desire to look like I knew what I was doing and ask for help, and actually taking in what my boss was trying to teach me instead of saying, yeah, I know that, yeah, oh yeah. Getting over that is very important. I asked my friend John Benton, owner of Benton Performance down in Anaheim, what he looks for in candidates. He said besides basic trade skills, he refers to a sign posted in his shop, and here it is. Like I said, these places value attitude very highly. Let's talk about racing jobs. It is possible to get paid for racing, just probably not how you expect. Very, very few people actually get paid to be behind the wheel. Short of top tier series like Formula One, the NASCAR Cup Series, and IndyCar, not a lot of drivers get paid to drive. In fact, a lot of drivers pay to drive. We actually talked about that a few weeks ago. Still, you can have a career in racing. If you're already versed in a trade like welding or machining, that does make it easier to get in the door at a race team. And I'm talking like a pro level race team like NASCAR. If you don't have the skills though, you can still get in. If you happen to be a college athlete watching this, a NASCAR or Indy team is looking for your talents. Most of the pit crews in the NASCAR Cup Series are former college athletes. And if you get recruited to a Cup team, that's a full-time paid job. You can still get paid to be on a pit crew, but if you're not at the Cup Series, if you're working on Xfinity or Truck or ARCA Series, like you're moving around a lot, getting a lot of gigs, right? Once you get to the Cup Series, that's when it's like, okay, you're on the team, that's full-time, boom, you're in. Like a custom shop, don't be afraid to approach a team and ask if there's anything you can do to help. They're probably not gonna announce any job postings. Just go to a team and introduce yourself. These teams do have positions that are like internships or apprenticeships, where you're gonna be doing odd jobs around the facility, like sweeping, taking vinyl off a race car, or helping organize the office. The cool thing about some racing organizations is that you don't necessarily need to know a lot about racing to work for a team. As much as racing is about strategy and skill on the track, teams are always looking for new ideas to help optimize their organization. NASCAR itself is famous for hiring people outside the sport to keep it fresh and maintain its relevance. Once you're in an organization, Cultivate a circle of people that can begin to trust you and your abilities. Don't be afraid to ask questions and ask if you can try something out. You might be good at it, you might not, but at least you showed initiative, which race teams value immensely. Like many of the other jobs we've talked about, there's no textbook for this career. A ton of learning is hands-on, which brings me to my next job. I bet there's a few of you watching this who want to make car videos and get paid for it. I'll tell you what our creative director Jesse told me, because he's been in this game for a while. The most direct way to make money shooting car content is to shoot for brands as a freelancer. But unlike some of the other paths I've talked about so far, this one's gonna take a lot of persistence and doing stuff for free. If you wanna make car videos for money, you better make sure you're good at making any kind of video with any kind of equipment. Too many people get caught up choosing gear when they have a phone in their pocket the whole time. Starting with subpar equipment is how you hone your craft. You learn how to work around constraints. Once you've mastered the basics with your phone or a GoPro, then move up to a dedicated camera like a DSLR. Preferably used because you don't need the best stuff, you're still learning. Now you can do what a lot of my friends have done to fund their car content, and that's shoot weddings. It pays pretty good, you do it on the weekend, and you'll learn how to become a filmmaker. To that point, film school is beneficial for sure, but there's also a ton of filmmaking resources on YouTube. You can totally teach yourself how to do this. All right, it's time to shoot some car stuff. You're gonna have to go to where the cars are at. Go to tracks, go to meets, wherever. But don't go in without a plan. For your work to get good, you need to have a vision for what you're trying to make before you even start shooting. It can evolve on location, but have that game plan. Otherwise, what are you gonna edit? Oh, also learn to edit. When you're just starting out, you're gonna be shooting a lot of stuff for free. This is the period of building your portfolio. Think of it as an apprenticeship that you're paying yourself for. Another thing, you gotta watch a lot of stuff, but not passively. Pay attention to what makes content good and why people like watching it. If you want to get paid for your work, you need to understand what makes something appealing to a wider audience. Remember, we're not making stuff just because we like it. We want to make stuff that other people will like. And in the case of being a freelance shooter, you're making something that a brand will like and then write you a check for it. Finally, what if you actually want to design cars? Unlike most of the jobs I've talked about so far, becoming an engineer does require a formal education, usually a degree in mechanical engineering to start. Try to find a school that has a Formula SAE team. Formula SAE is where college kids get to design, build, and race their own race cars. It's really sick. Big shout out to Matador Motorsports at CSU Northridge. Formula SAE competitions are regularly scouted by recruiters from the automotive industry, so that's a great place to make an impression and also just gain a lot of experience designing a car. But it's not the only way. Last year, David Tracy wrote a really great story on how 8 different engineers got their start in the industry. I'll link it down in the description right now. The common thread in every story is that they all studied super hard in college and got any internships they could in the industry. They might not have landed at their dream job right away, but internships allow you to integrate yourself into the company culture and find out how things really work in the office. Another key to breaking into the biz doesn't just apply to working at an OEM, but many, many other industries, and that is being persistent. The truth is, there's no predetermined path to your dream job, and the journey is different for everybody. You're gonna have to feel some things out on your own. But something we all possess is the ability to keep on trying until you get there. You might not have the skills right now to do what you want to do, but that doesn't mean that you never will. You gotta write some emails, call some people up, knock on some doors, and an opportunity will present itself eventually. It pays to be professionally persistent. Don't overdo it, don't be annoying, certainly don't harass a potential employer because that's bad. But do remind people of your existence, and something should happen. But maybe the most important thing to keep in mind is to find a job where you can go home happy on a regular basis, because that's worth a lot more than a fancy job title. So whatever it is you want to do, I sincerely believe in you. You can do it.
Donut is looking for new... Sorry, can you go back to the beginning? You guys, Donut is looking for new hosts. Do you love cars? Do you know how to work on cars? Do you have a potentially unhealthy desire to be the center of attention? Perfect! Then go here or click the link in the description below. We're looking for the funniest person in the pit crew, the most hilarious person in the shop. If this is you, submit to be a host. If this sounds like someone you know, encourage them to submit to be a host. The last time we did this, we met both Zach Job and Jeremiah.
Thank you guys so much for watching my audition.
Hello, Donut Media. My name is Zach Job.
You could seriously be next. So go ahead and click that link or send it to a friend, and let's make videos about cars together.
Goodbye.
Thank you very much for watching Wheelhouse. I hope you enjoyed this one, and I hope you go out there and do it, whatever it is you want to do. Big thank you to Mitch at Stewart Haas Racing, John Benton at Benton Performance, Vincent Vigil, Austin Gesso, Adam Knappich, Zach Job, and Jesse Wood for your help on this episode. I couldn't have made it without you guys. If you're a donut super freak and want to connect with other donut fans around the world and get exclusive content, check out the Donut Underground by hitting that join button down there. Follow Donut Media on all social media at Donut Media. Follow me at Nolan J. Sykes if you like. Be kind, follow your dreams, and I'll see you next time.